Welcome to Module 2, Week 2. By the end of this lecture, you will have explored why identity in relation to mathematics is important to consider. You will understand how mathematical identities are formed. You will have considered issues of identity relating to students of maths and considered issues of identity relating to teachers of mathematics. So what do we mean when we talk about identity? Gutenberg, Lowry and Smith define identity as how individuals know and name themselves, and how an individual is recognized and looked upon by others. They go on to say that identity is a unifying and connective concept that brings together elements such as life histories, affective qualities, and cognitive domains. Sparta and Prusak equate identities with the reifying, endorsable, and significant stories that surround a person. So you can see the links here to last week's topic of anxiety and to the importance of developing growth mindsets, as discussed in the other unit this semester, Assessment and Intervention for Mathematics and Numeracy Learning. The most important point regarding identity that I want to highlight here is the two elements of the definition of identity: how people see themselves and how they are recognized by others, and how these elements interact with each other. So how is identity formed? Does everyone have a maths identity? Very recently, this comic appeared on Facebook. When I saw it, it had over 26,000 shares and lots of comments. You can see from this sample screenshot that those who did comment have very clear identities regarding mathematics. They either love it or they hate it. However, as the definition implies, identity isn't as simple as love and hate. It's influenced by one's history with maths, engagement and ability. The goal of mathematics education is to develop students' mathematical identities. So everything we do in the classroom, from the ways we assess, the day-to-day routines and practices we engage in, and the intended and unintended messages we give to students through both words and actions, influence identity development. There's a great deal of literature pertaining to identity in mathematics. If you're interested in reading beyond the course readings, try accessing the Merger website and looking through their past conference proceedings. You'll find papers that report on Australasian research investigating identity in maths relating to students, teachers and pre-service teachers. But for now, what does the research say about students and identity? Gutenberg and Zevenbergen believe that each student in our mathematics classrooms is a member of a family community who is immersed in and is part of a generational culture. Their perspectives can be very different from that of their teachers. Students' identities incorporate a range of dimensions that include knowledge, abilities, skills, beliefs, dispositions, attitudes, and emotions. These are informed by past experience, but more importantly, are integral to their future learning of maths. Sparta and Prusak believe we have multiple identities that divide into two sets: actual identities, which are factual assertions about a person identified by the use of I am or he is sentences that are told in present tense, and designated identities, the I should be stories. What shapes a person's actions is the need to close the gap between the actual and designated identities. The closing of this gap is what constitutes learning. Gutenberg and Zevenbergen believe there are three important dimensions important for developing positive mathematical identities: the student, the mathematics, and the classroom community. They believe that if the goal of maths education is to develop a strong mathematical identity, then the critical focus is the relationship between a student and the discipline of mathematics. The facilitating context for the development of this relationship is the classroom community, and more specifically, the teacher. However, they claim the classroom community is temporal, and it is the connection between student identity and mathematics that remains. Likewise, although the biggest influence on students is the teacher, we need to understand that the teacher's influence is also temporal. Teachers need to teach their students so that they can eventually become obsolete, the teacher that is. What remains are the students' identities with mathematics as a subject, and this will be the foundation for further studies if that identity is robust. If a teacher is to be effective in developing students' mathematical identities, then it's important that the teachers themselves have a well-developed mathematical identity. A well-developed teacher identity would not only include strong mathematical knowledge, but would also include a positive attitude towards mathematics and an enjoyment in participating in mathematical practices. In other words, the teacher needs to model a passion and enthusiasm towards mathematics teaching. Another critical aspect of strong mathematical identity is the pedagogical relationships that develop between teachers and their students. More than just a social connection, this includes pedagogical approaches or practices. You can see strong links here to the framework for engagement with mathematics. In fact, the framework could easily be adapted to become a framework for identity in mathematics. Teachers who promote strong mathematical identities are able to connect with both students and the subject, and in the process facilitate students' relationship with the subject. There are 2 readings this week that relate to identity in mathematics. The first, a paper by Rika Anderson, discusses mathematics learners and 4 faces of identity. The second is Chapter 3 from a report entitled Effective Teachers of Numeracy. This chapter begins with a discussion of teachers' belief systems, which links directly to their identity as mathematics teachers. 3 orientations towards teaching mathematics are presented: connectionist, transmission, and discovery. When you have read through the chapter, take another look at the table on pages 35 and 36. Then go to this week's discussion board and post your reactions to the 3 orientations. Compare any orientations to your personal beliefs. Don't forget, discussion boards are a great opportunity for interaction, so make sure you join in.